there should be no sacred cows popote nchi yetu. Kenya ni nchi ya amani. For us to grow, tunahitaji amani na heshima kati ya wananchi. Tukitaka kugrow, tunataka tuheshimiane.
Wanafikiri kwamba wakileta vita na watu kupigana kumwaga damu ati kwamba ile mchakato utasimama. Ndio mkoko amealika maua. Mambo ndio imeanza sasa. Na hii vita tutapambana mpaka ile siku ambaye jamii yetu itakuwa liberated kutoka kwenye linde la umaskini.
Tumekaa hii miaka yote hatujaona vitu zinafanana kama ambazo tumeona leo. Tumekuwa na matanga mingi, hatujaona vurugu kama vurugu ambayo tumeona leo. So mimi nataka kuambia viongozi, people must stay in peace. And where there is no order, order will be brought by force, by fire.
Order will be brought by force, by fire.
Yeah.
That is
actually it's mine because I come from there.
That is the Cabinet Secretary for Health speaking there. Now, Senator Nyoko wants to speak. Caleb also wants to speak.
Allow me.
Set the ball to you.
Thank you.
Can you strike a deal?
Yes.
Because this is his home county. I start with him, then I get to you.
Proceed.
Okay,
yes.
All right. Mheshimiwa, talk to me about what was going on in this, and why is this supremacy battle between a National Assembly Speaker and a governor? Totally different roles and mandates.
Yeah, thank you very much. The Western is my region, and the scenarios in Western is totally different and from what people understand. Western is facing a leadership deficit for a long time. It has been the wish and hope of the Mulembe nation that one of their sons can at some time become the president of this region. And there is also a heavy condemnation on why that the second largest community in the Republic does not get the necessary support and resource allocation, infrastructural development. There is no single factory in Western region. There is nothing, absolutely nothing in infrastructure, in water, in health, in the entire Western region. So there is a climate of revolution. There is a climate of revolution. I came from Vihiga, attending Dr. Henry Chakava's funeral, and I could see the whole crowd following me, and they live in Mudavadi there to address chairs, empty chairs. So there is a whole revolution coming in Western region. It is not just Natembeya. It is a number of us that are going to stand our authority and say enough is enough. We've given you 40 years to try and become a president of this country. You've not. And you see, when you see a whole so-called speaker or kingpin, they call themselves kingpin, and they call themselves third in command. If you see such an individual mobilizing goons, youth, to a funeral, then why are you calling yourself a kingpin? Have you ever seen Raila?
That he mobilized goons.
We come from Trans-Nzoia, we know. The youth told us who mobilized them. They were mobilized by people.
How is that a statement of fact to state?
It is a statement of facts because the youth are telling us who mobilized them. As much as Natembeya is wrong, then the speaker is also wrong. He should, at his status, he should not have played into Natembeya's hands. He should not mobilize. If you know you are a leader in a region, and you've seen Natembeya is mobilizing people to heckle or do what, as a speaker, provide leadership. Then that's how people will see you are a leader. But if you...
Just hold on, because I'm concerned about what you're saying. Was there breach of peace in that funeral?
I was not in the funeral, but there's totally from the videos we see, that is total chaos. And it is a chaos.
I can tell you.
And it is a chaos that is, yes.
That you're stating here that the National Assembly Speaker mobilized goons to that funeral.
Is
this information that has been taken to the police?
Yeah, maybe, because these people are a seed mobilizing. He has his people on the ground. He has 40 Kenya foot soldiers on the ground. They are a seed mobilizing. If you are in that funeral and you are young people are mobilizing, why can't you give an order that Even if they are on the side that have mobilized, let us behave differently, and then they'll see the leadership in you. But if you play into Natembeya's hands of causing chaos in funeral, and you are a regional kingpin. Have you seen Raila mobilizing Gunzi to go with Tunyanza? Have you seen Kalonzo going to Gunzi? We have heard people going against Raila in Nyanza. We have heard people going against Kalonzo in Central Region. But he doesn't behave that way. He put himself at a high pedestal that you provide, you look like you are the leader, you are the big man. That's what he's supposed to do. But if you put in politics is about perception. If you put yourself in a position where you look like it is this versus this, then it is you who is going to lose. It's the speaker who is going to lose. You are supposed to come out as a leader. You are supposed to show leadership and say, this is wrong. But you can see he's even addressing the press conference and showing that they are coming from war. Everybody is saying, the CS for Health is saying that you come with fire, you get fire. So they are ready for war. What does that show? You have not provided leadership. In presence of your speaker with the CS, you're not supposed to do that. It shows that you have actually gone there for war.
Okay. Senator.
Thank you. I share a very interesting background. I grew up in Trans Nzoia, where he comes from. In fact, at the local level, he is my member of parliament. I have a slightly different interpretation of what's going on. Mm-hmm. You have a younger generation of leadership in Western that is beginning to think that they need to recalibrate the political matrix of Western. And the reason for that is you find in this configuration that is taking place, my brother Caleb Amisi, the governor of Trans Nzoia, Mr. Natembeya, and other younger politicians are actually having a rethink on what needs to be done in areas like Trans Nzoia, Bungoma, Vihiga, because the two individuals who have been running the show for this number of years, the way my leader is saying, is Honorable Moses Wetangula and Honorable Musalia. What is happening in that recalibration, the messaging that is coming out is that these two individuals, one who is now a chief secretary, is not able to deliver much, and the other one is the speaker, is also not able to deliver much for the simple reason that the speaker's role really is centralized in parliament or at the National Assembly. And with Musalia, when you see jobs being given out by the national government or President William Ruto, you hardly see members from the Luhya community being factored into those selections and nominations and everything. So this team of younger politicians feel that if it was them, they would have done it better. My reality, because I live in Trans Nzoia and I've watched what is happening, is that the team that is where the speaker is, and you know I have a lot of respect for him, even Musalia, because these are people I've worked with and I've played politics with. My honest observation is they need to worry. They need to worry because this narrative is very easy to percolate to the community. It is very easy if you look at KK Alliance, if you look at what is happening in terms of the national government. I can give you a very simple example. The national government's problem as we speak, the subsidy, but fertilizer has been found to be fake. So at the local level, the fertilizer which the government was giving to local farmers and everybody else is not available. So you have a scenario where people are then going to take this politics and start talking about how their leadership from Trans Nzoia and indeed the Western region is not engaged and is not serious to solving the problems which Honorable Amisi is talking about. My very honest issue is that Trans Nzoia and Western Kenya has very complex issues, historical, economic, and political, to the point that if the leadership which exists now, including my party leader, Honorable Wetangula, you know, at one time I was running on Fort Kenya, if they are not willing to engage and seriously bring interventions which can be seen, that these are interventions which they directly have influenced. Are you with me? In other words, the people of Western are expecting to see certain projects because you have two kingpins from Western Kenya who actually are in the center of this power.
Yes.
And this power is what, this is the dividend that Kinamisi's group are looking at and they're expecting to get. My only worry is that in the process of Kinamisi's group and Governor Natembeya coming up with this narrative, then it means that for the next 5 years, 3 years, towards the next elections, it's going to be war. It's going to be war. And once you have that war, nothing is going to happen, whether it is at the county level. I'll give you an example. How do you start a war with the speaker who is in the coalition of KK when you know that the County Assembly of Trans Nzoia has a majority of KK members of the County Assembly? What is the possibility that they can actually, members of the County Assembly can decide to impeach Natembeya? If you do that, what then does it do in trying to destabilize the management of the county of Trans Nzoia? So these are the very weighty issues that are being handled on the ground right now. And my wish, we go back to where Gachagua is, the deputy president with Mama Ngina Kenyatta. These people should always remember, at some point as they keep moving, because politics is transitory, they are going to find themselves talking with each other. At some point, they are going to find that they must be able to engage. Why? Because sometimes that may be the necessary evil that they may engage with. So where I put myself is this.
Let me say something.
How I wish that Governor Natembeya could slow it down and my Speaker, Honorable Moses Wetangula, with his experience and age, be able to look for a way on how they can begin to engage themselves in trying to solve the problem of Western Kenya. The reality that also happened, and that is the final point I'm going to make, is that in the process of this war, then you are going to have it percolating from Trans Nzoia, coming down up to Bungoma, going down up to Vihiga, coming down up to Kakamega County. And then you might even have it cascade towards Busia. So in other words, what you have, instead of us busy making noise about we want development projects, we want projects to come, we want the sugar factories to open. And also another thing that I think Honorable Amisia said, which is so fundamental. When I'm in Western Kenya, the question that I've had severally is that how could the leadership of Western Kenya agree with the KK government to make sure that all the factories that are producing sugar in Western Kenya are going to be leased to individuals and people that the community has no say about, and these leaders are actually wealthy multi-billionaires? Why are they themselves not even trying to lease these factories for their people?
Thank you very much.
And Owen, I was going to say that Senator Nyonka, when he speaks about it, you may find yourself speaking to each other. You know, he has never run an election in an election with the same party that he got to parliament with. He keeps switching at every election, unless I'm wrong.
That is true.
But Owen, so when you look at this, because remember the last election, the margin of difference was very minimal. And it appears it can actually be traced to what happened specifically in Bungoma. So there are a few issues there that arise on what is happening to the grip of Kenya Kwanza in that area. But also secondly, it is unusual for a Speaker of the National Assembly to be actively engaged on the ground in a manner that we are seeing here. What is going on and what should the Speaker do?
I want to say this. You know, the two gentlemen, all of them have said one thing, that the Speaker is playing into the hands of Natembeya. And they have said that the Speaker needs to be above Natembeya. The conclusion is that Natembeya is not a good guy.
No.
That is what they're saying.
No.
That is what they're saying.
Let
me just finish. Let me just finish what I'm saying.
That he's reading.
Yes, and you see, in Natembeya, we knew him when he was provincial. He was regional commissioner.
Regional coordinator.
Well, regional commissioner. When he was regional coordinator in that region, we used to see him. We used to see the kind of statements he used to make. In the past 1 month, he has been beating the drums of war against Wetangula. I think he spoke twice very badly about Wetangula before this incident.
What do you mean with the drums of war?
I mean, he's been preparing to face Wetangula in a way that in a duel that is not civilized. You could hear. I think there were videos that were playing around, and we could hear what Natembeya was doing. we have young leaders in this country who have no values, And one of the leaders that we see now is Natembeya. Natembeya is so power hungry that he thinks the only way to dominate the region and to grasp power is to use the goons that we saw in that funeral. That is the only thing that he understands.
Okay, so whose goons are those?
Definitely, you know, this funeral was peacefully until Natembeya came. We have another leader in Kisii, and I don't know why.
No, let's stay with Trans Nzoia first.
You know, I'm not a Trans Nzoia person.
Why are you talking about
I
the
want
goons?
to speak from a national
No,
perspective.
don't move so quickly. I asked you a question.
Yes.
It is unusual for a Speaker of the National Assembly to be seen in a... I mean, I've not seen Justin Muturi or even Kenneth Marwente before in such a situation. What's going on?
No, I'll speak to that. You see, for a long time...
What were you saying about Kisii?
Sorry, don't be provoked.
I'll come to Kisii. I'll come to Kisii.
You spoke about Trans Nzoia. Let's speak about Trans Nzoia.
So you see, Speaker Wetangula has for a long time, as former leader of Fort Kenya, you know, he resigned his party position.
Did he?
Now, yes, because he's Speaker.
So who's the party leader of Fort Kenya?
There's a lady who is
the name? The name.
Yes, there is this lady. What is her name? The one who sits in Parliament. I'll give you the name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the party leader of Fort Kenya. So he resigned as a party leader for him to occupy the position of Speaker. And when Wetangula walks in Western Kenya, these leaders like Natembeya, who have no grasp with the ground, feel threatened all the time. Wetangula is one person whose politics is way above, you know, but then these younger leaders who feel threatened by his dominance, by Fort Kenya being around in that place, then they feel jittery, and they think that, they imagine that Wetangula is fighting them. It's a figment of their imagination. And therefore they go and assemble goons and think that they can grab power from Wetangula. Does not need to fight for power. People in Western Kenya respect him. They love him as a leader who's been there for them for many years. Just like you have people in Nyanza love Raila so much for what he has been to them. It's the same way you find in Western Kenya, especially Bungoma area and Trans Nzoia, for Wetangula. But then these young leaders think now, like you heard what Caleb is saying, it is going to be a revolution. You know, that's the word he used, a revolution. You heard what Senator is talking, that there's disquiet in. It's not about disquiet. It's not about the people. It is about individuals that are power hungry and individuals who think that for them to be powerful, they have to fight another person. You know, I have learned that for you to be powerful, you don't need necessarily to fight another person. You just need to organize yourself politically, and you get the power from respect from the people by the way you organize yourself, not through violence. The only language that Natembeya understands is violence. We saw it during the campaigns. You know, this is not something that just happened. We saw it in the campaigns of 2022.
What did he do?
Trans Nzoia was a violent region in terms of politics because it was high octave campaigns. You know, Natembeya needed to grab power, having come from the higher pedestal of a regional coordinator.
What do you mean?
All that.
You're saying it was a violent area, he grabbed power.
Yes, and I'm very specific about the use of those words, because you go there to persuade people with words. You go there to persuade people with policies. You go there to persuade people with neat, hygienic politics. That is what we see people. That is how.
So what?
That is how Moses Wetangula. That is how Moses Wetangula has built his brand.
Yeah.
Peaceful man who comes out, he speaks to the people. You know, they understand him and they love him.
Can I come in?
Just hold on. Owen, if you speak about hygiene in politics.
Yes.
Then, Mama, please forgive us. It's on the Daily Nation.
Yes.
Deputy President apologizing to the former First Lady.
Yes.
The Standard. Gachagua walks back on Kenyatta's attacks. So I don't know what hygiene you're talking about.
I'm talking about...
But I want you to substantiate. When you say that the campaigns in 2022 were violent in Trans Nzoia, and that Natembeya grabbed power, Please, explain to me what that means.
Natembeya used unorthodox means to get to power. Violent, organizing goons, getting, That is what Natembeya understands in terms of politics. But politics is not like that. Moses Wetangula did not build his political brand on violence. He earned the respect of the people. If Natembeya wants to get leadership...
In that violence, what happens?
Natembeya that way is unfair.
It's very totally...
By the way,
Senator, that's why I want him that's why I want him to substantiate.
Yes.
So, what was that violence? Explain it.
You saw some on
Not this
what
funeral,
happened at that funeral during the campaigns. Just go back on the news and the what was happening in Trans Nzoia during the politics.
Reported that
because you remember it so correctly.
No.
What happened?
There were no people arrested.
There were a lot of skirmishes between youth in Trans Nzoia, and that is true.
Between youth.
I remember.
I think.
But I want to say one thing. I want to say one thing that is true. Natembeya has not changed. Has not changed. Natembeya has not changed from his days as regional commissioner. And he was always in the headlines for the wrong things.
Okay.
And that's what he continues. That is his narrative. But I want to advise him, you do not build a political brand that way.
Okay.
Moses Wetangula built his political brand.
Violence that you associate the governor with.
No, I want to say what is in Kisii.
Sorry, you have not substantiated. I don't think I want to go to Kisii. Talk to me, Caleb Amisi. Talk to me about... those allegations and what is true.
These members from KK, they need a regional conference before they come here. It is totally unacceptable for such a leader to just spew wrong information before such a respected
What is wrong about what I've said?
When you talk about somebody grabbing power...
Violent. Natembeya is like that.
Now, you see the bad manners they carry to the station. I don't know how we'll correct. They have spoiled the economy. They are now going to spoil a very respectable station by interjecting carelessly. Now, he has said so many things, but I don't even know where to start. He started by saying that these young people, they think going up is bringing somebody down. They are serving with Alfred Mutua, who was fighting Kalonzo. Alfred Mutua was not on the same line with Kalonzo. He has fought Kalonzo in Central, trying to say that we need a change of leadership. And they are serving with him. They are serving with Gachagua, who was going against Uhuru. He is apologizing today. I thought he sent you an apology. Now you are even going against the apology he sent to the people. He sent an apology that he said so many things about Uhuru Kenyatta. And he's a deputy president now. In Luo Nyanza, they are serving with people who have talked so much things against Raila and his dominance of Luo politics, and they are serving together. So when he says that these young people are trying to bring others down for you to succeed, it is nothing far away from the truth. The truth of the Western region is that they feel that they are not well represented in the government. The people we've been given them enough time. We've been very patient. Personally, I never abuse anyone. I have never abused Wetangula. I have never abused Mudavadi. I always tell them the truth. Even the other day, I saw Wetangula forward me something on WhatsApp group, and I told him, "This is what are you trying to forward me things at your level, at my level? You're not supposed to be forwarding me things from social media." We feel that these are leaders who are not capable. If you can forward a message to a young leader like me and you are a speaker, and I have it in the phone, then what does it mean? You are scared by young people. So let me finish.
I might ask the content of the message.
I will. I can give. It is here. I can give.
Don't get into that.
Yeah, it is so unfortunate that this is the leaders we have. That is what we are saying. And it is so genuine because we have the facts. Number one, which is this factory that helps the Western region. It's not. We must not be talking about kingpin. If you go to Nyanza, they'll show you some progress. They'll show you progress. Like Victoria, there's a lot that has happened there. Kisumu Airport, things are moving. In Western region, we are stuck. If it were not for devolution, there'll be nothing absolutely to celebrate in Western region. There is no single factor, even for chicken, even for eggs. And that is the home of everything. There is nothing to do with football. If you go to Rift Valley, you'll see a lot of investment in athletes. the football is a talent of the Western region. There is nothing absolutely to do with the football in the Western region. That is the message we want our leaders to talk about when to come to funerals, not to bring goons. If you come to stamp your authority to be a kingpin by bringing goons, and when you say there was skirmishes, can you have skirmishes from goons who are coming from one person? If there were skirmishes, it means there was one side against the other side. So who organized the goons for Wetangula? Because you cannot have goons from Natembeya having a skirmishes among themselves. It means there was organized one team against another team. That's why she is calling the skirmishes. So you can't eat words and start confusing Kenyans. The truth of the matter is that we, the young leaders, we feel that we've been left down and we've been given time. When I was 3 years old, I can tell you, I was moving, walking barefoot, going to school. When I was 3 years old, Mudavadi was a minister in Moi's government. I'm now serving 2 terms as a member of parliament. The guy is still a minister. You want us to keep quiet? You want us to say things are the same? No. And there is no even single toilet written there, Mudavadi. Go to Saboti and see the number of building written Caleb Amis. The number of building for 2 terms. Go to Saboti and find the number of students in school, courtesy of Caleb Amis. But just as a member of parliament. Just as a member of parliament.
But how do
so we feel that...
put those projects up?
Pardon?
How do you put them up, those projects?
Because of the government resources and how you are well utilized. If those resources are not well utilized, people will not feel the impact.
So you're using CDF?
CDF is well utilized, can make a very big impact.
Why is your name on them?
Yeah, because you are the person who initiated. You are the person doing it. That's why you see a big hall written, commissioned by William Ruto. He's not the one who built, because he's there courtesy, he's the one who has organized, he's the one who planned for it. He has utilized the resources well. That's why the name William Ruto is on those halls.
Thank you for that statement.
I hear you. Yes, Senator Onyonka.
I just want to say that for me, as somebody who has a very passionate engagement with Trans Nzoia County, because I literally grew up there. The first time I stepped Trans Nzoia was 1978. I don't think you were born yet. I have a very passionate engagement with that county. Why? It is a metropolis. All communities of Kenya there. It is one of the most beautiful places in the world. You can get everything in farming that you wanted. You have farmers doing coffee, people are doing macadamia, you have tea, you have milk. I mean, it's a place which, if it's managed well, it would really change the livelihoods of the people. And the truth is, for us as people who are watching from the outside, what is happening, and this is my very, very clear observation, how are you going to bring the issues which are relevant and critical to the community, which the younger generation leaders are bringing forth, without necessarily stymieing and stopping the development which is necessary? For example, is Governor Natembeya's engagement with the political style that he has adopted and the confrontational politics that he has adopted, is it going to jeopardize, number one, the development that would come in? That would also then include the harmonization, and this goes for Speaker Wetangula also. What you are doing in Trans Nzoia, is it something that is going to make the county become very difficult to manage? For the simple reason that Natembeya was elected, and this is what my brother Owen Baya has not said. You know, Natembeya comes from the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. I mean, from the Azimio Alliance. Why? Because he was in UPA. It was assumed that he would... DAP, sorry. Yeah. DAP, which is a sister party, I think, to UPA. Yes. He won the elections against all odds. But for people like me and Caleb here, it was not unexpected. The simple reason is that the party which was on the ground, and that is Ford Kenya, had various issues and various challenges, which then made people think and look at DAP as an alternative party. But you can see, like, my brother Caleb is elected on ODM. So you can see that actually Trans Nzoia went, it has UDA members are like in the county assembly.
Yes, a cosmopolitan.
UDA.
Yes.
Then you have a governor who is in DAP. And then you have some members who have come in from Ford Kenya. So it is a keg of various interests and political engagements, which I do believe, and I would pray to my leaders, that is Governor Natembeya and Honorable Moses Wetangula, irrespective of the issues that are taking place, could we please manage the politics of Trans Nzoia with respect? That is, if there's anything like that. That we need to have a level of sanity where that county, both sides need to look at what is exactly happening and what has been happening and where are we as a people. Finally, I wanted to say something, Sami. According to me, and this is a point I wanted to raise because when we started, we had started discussing the issues of the youth and the older generation, established politicians engaging. I believe that the Deputy President in Central is trying to come out with the most viable option in sorting out any mess that may come out from that place politically. Because in reality, Kenyans forget our history so quickly. What is actually happening to Gachagua has happened to the other leaders before him. There have been cases in the Moi regime. You would find Professor Saitoti is actually a vice president and is somebody who is expected to take over from President Moi, but you will find out of nowhere some leader, whether it's Nakuru, Karuki Chotara, whether it is the guy from Mombasa, Sharif Nasir. There were people who are basically being utilized and being used by the presidency to achieve a certain political goal. And my conviction and belief is that the president is actually aware that Ndindi Nyoro is running around as a possible alternative to Honorable Gachagua. Ndindi Nyoro was rushing and was in a hurry until when the president went to Central, and that's when he went and started cooling down the young generation. He said, let us not start campaigning because we are trying to consolidate. The truth is we are very happy in the opposition that KK is on fire. We hope it will be more on fire. But friendly fire, you know, can be deadly. And as far as we are concerned, we only appreciate, personally, I always give President William Ruto the accolade that we are happy that he will support Raila to go to the AU. We are happy that finally there will be no Raila to demonize in the country. We are happy that now...
You know, Senator,
yes,
it is interesting. What you're saying is very interesting because you're happy that there is fire in Kenya Kwanza.
Yes.
But what's happening in Azimio?
No, Azimio...
There's a bit of fire also.
Azimio, it's expected we are to fail. After Raila leaves, we are going to fight. It's expected we are not in government. So when you see government fighting, we celebrate some. we are like, oh my God, let them just collapse even more. And in fact, by the time the elections come, there'll be like 19 factions. And then we have an opportunity now to have brought ourselves together.
I want to say something.
In other words, the game is now at
Senator,
halftime.
That's okay. Yes. That's okay. You know, Owen Bai, you told me that there's a new party leader of Ford Kenya. I'm looking at the website of Ford Kenya, unless you tell me that it's outdated.
Yes.
The party leader is Moses Wetangula. The deputy party leader is Kenneth Lusaka. The Secretary General is John Chikati, MP.
Now, I think that is outdated.
So who is the party leader?
The women rep for Vihiga.
Why is she not on record?
The women rep of Vihiga is the Fort Kenya party leader.
Since when? Vihiga? Yes. Is the ANC has now borrowed from... That means Ford Kenya has borrowed a member of ANC. Adagala.
Beatrice is the one now.
Yes,
ANC,
now Ford Kenya has borrowed a member of ANC.
Beatrice is ANC.
To be the secretary.
I want to say this.
Sorry.
Let me get it right.
I just wanted you to clarify that.
Let me clarify.
We'll have a lot of staccato. Let's just move on.
Feedback.
Yes.
Alan, please. Let me take a look at the feedback that has come to us. Owen, you've been unable to verify that. If you do,
I will.
Let me know.
I will.
Bobo Tieno, Mount Kenya region is a very unique region from other regions of Kenya, and I don't read any malicious thing with DP Gachagua asking for Mamangena Kenyatta's forgiveness. He has been his son's PA from President Uhuru. It's all about succession politics of 2032. Is that so now? Jay Musoma, the triumph of potential new regional kingpins like Natembeya, Ndindi Nyoro and Joho is an indicator that the supreme battles have a secret upper hand. I pity Wetangula, Mudavadi and Gachagua. Ruto might have a secret alliance with Azimio. Wow. Franco Rinde, the National Assembly Speaker, engaging in supremacy battles on issues that he doesn't understand his position in society. Other leaders are failing to respect him because he's not playing his role as a speaker. He is biased and partisan. That's why he's becoming a punching bag. Engineer Lazaro, political feud going around in different parts of the country is a sign emerging force from upcoming young leaders. Old guards must now have good reason to worry. Dean Dinyoro, factor in Mount Kenya to Natembeya in Western region. And Babu Michael, you're saying that Kenya Kwanza government, led by President Ruto, keeps on saying that in 2022 they just showed... What is that? They showed that tribalism and regional supremacy battles have no place in the Kenyan politics. But see Speaker Wetangula now. See what DP Gachagua is trying to do. Regional relevance. So those are the views from part of the viewers this morning.